Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Strawhat Deku here, and today I'm here with my One Piece manga review for chapter 970, titled Oden vs. Kaido. So before the chapter begins, we get the title page, which is Gang Beij's Oh My Family Volume 19. Beige and Vito are immobilized. And this basically just shows Gang Beij and Vito both being held back by a bunch of people who are essentially fawning over them and trying to kiss them. This is starting to be one of the longest cover page series I can think of in the past little while. But either way, let's get into it and let's talk about this week's chapter. So this chapter begins with a few Shamisen players plucking away at their strings, and if you notice, among them, Robin's teacher is one of them, and somehow she looks just as young then as she did now. So we also get to see Oden and his Akazaya 9, a few shots of Oden's family, a panel of Yasue riding into Kuri to watch over Toki and the kids. But when Oden and his samurai arrive at the city, they are surprised to find that Kaido isn't actually in some sort of drunken stupor on his island like they were hoping, and that he actually turns out that he's there thoroughly prepared for them to fight. And the question here is, how does he know? He gives his signature laugh, which I assume they've put to him now, which is the wo ro 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 ro, and he just laughs at him, saying, "Perhaps I have a spy in your castle." And that he also has a cool little line where he goes, "I've just had my mansion built, and I'd rather not have it used as a battleground," which I did think was a pretty good villain line. Oden shouts to Kaido, asking if it was all a lie, wasn't it, Kaido? And obviously here it seems to imply that indeed Kaido has went back on whatever it was that he told Oden originally that caused him to behave so rashly and so different in the last chapter when we had that big sudden character change where he was dancing in the streets after fiercely yelling at them. Kaido has sensed that they were at a disadvantage then, and that if they had joined forces with Hyogoro, they could have had to, that if Oden would have joined forces with Hyogoro, that the animal pirates would have had to deal with both the Yakuza and the Samurai of Wano together, which would have ended up being a difficult battle for them if Oden lived up to his fearsome reputation as a madman who would not blink at any sacrifice. And that's what Kaido said. In that he also says that in Oden, instead of choosing a method that would not hurt anybody, which is obviously something that's caused an issue, he claims that, like Newgate and Rogers are talking about Whitebeard and Gold Roger, that he calls them mighty pirates, but they were soft in their own ways, just claiming that they wouldn't do like brutal and evil things to get what they wanted. He calls Oden the fool who chose to dance, stripped to your loincloth, mocked by all, saying that he has none of the old Kazuki dignity. And that all throughout this conversation, we get amazing looking panels of like a really close up of Kaido in his dragon form. And we also get a really cool shot, which actually the camera, if there was a camera, but like it's shot as in the viewpoints coming out from Kaido's coiled up body itself. So like you actually see through his long, like scaly body. Oden, unfazed by this, tells him that he stands by his decision he made that day, and that he wants to speak of the future in which Kaido leaves Wano. We get a very interesting panel on the next page, which shows Oden in what, in my opinion, is him using Conqueror's Haki, or at least it's what I'm assuming to be so, due to the black lightning effect in the manga, which typically is used to represent Conqueror's Haki throughout the series. We've seen it previously. But as he's doing this as he just blows through some soldiers. And we also get some panels of the Akazaya 9 who are charging into battle now to support Oden as they yell that they're on their way in. The animal pirates, they get a nice panel that shows them that they're all shocked by how tough the samurai are, that they're only fighting 10 people, but their 1,000 army force is actually having trouble fighting them. And they were hoping to rely essentially on their superior numbers, hoping that would ensure them victory, but it's not happening at the moment. But we all know, sadly, that they do win. We also get a close-up panel of Oden and his Akazaya 9's faces, which all look pretty awesome, but then it cuts away back to Yasue, and it shows him he's now reached Lady Toki and the children, and he tells them that Oden sent a messenger to him to relay the message that Oden's family would be in danger, and asked them to come ride to their aid. And he reminds Toki, if Oden loses this battle, then this country's lost. So when it cuts back to the fight, we see Oden being protected by Shinobu, who appears above them suddenly and throws a kunai, taking out a sniper who was trying to shoot Oden. So she takes out a few fodder troops, and as she's doing so, she explains that she used to serve back in the day for Shogun Sukiyaki. And it does feel very odd, though, that she explains that she's been serving the enemy the entire time while believing the Kazuki would rule once again. Like, maybe she is just very loyal to the Kazuki clan, but I think it's a good idea to keep an eye on her for now. Shinobu also explains that the Kazuki Ninja Legion chose to side with Orochi in the end, But to this, Oden simply replies that he does not blame anyone who would lose faith in a fool of a lord. Essentially just saying it with him dancing and stuff, like an idiot the past little bit, he assumes people would lose faith in him, but he obviously had a stronger reason to do that. So he tells them that we walk the path of thrones. Oh my god. Oden tells her that we walk the path of thorns, essentially, to Shinobu, just saying that, like, it's not an easy path what they walk, but she replies that she still wants to join them. So we get to see silhouettes of Kaido, King, and Queen all attacking our samurai group, and they all look pretty badass here, as well as the panel we get of Kaido firing off a large flame attack, which I thought was beautifully drawn. I really enjoy seeing Kaido in his dragon form, or anytime we get to see Kaido drawn, but especially when he's, like, shooting off attacks, like getting to see more abilities Kaido has. I've always enjoyed that. But then we're treated to an awesome looking page right after that of Oden using his two-sword style Paradise Totsuka, which gives Kaido a massive X cut right across his chest. And like everybody, I made the joke in my live reaction that he gets the Luffy scar, but like in reality, Kaido would have technically had it first. But either way, so after that though, we see Kaido's dragon form crash down to the earth in a pretty cool looking panel. Odin then bent on delivering the final blow, shouting to Kaido to never come back to Wano, is distracted by what seemed to be Momonosuke being held hostage by a pirate. But in that split second he looked away, Kaido was able to knock Oden unconscious just like he did to Luffy with that giant Oni club. And I'm starting to think that weapon is stronger than a normal club, and not necessarily like it's sea stone or anything like that. But I'm thinking maybe just because we're in Wano, it has something along the lines to do with like kind of how they create a black blade. Like maybe that club itself is infused with Kaido's haki or something to make it extra strong, not just he's like using haki on it to coat it in haki, but that it itself contains haki, kind of like the idea of a black blade. So we then see that Momonosuke is really the clone clover user in disguise, and I've seen some people online saying that they're not liking the fact that Oden forgot about her ability. However, I'll just point it out that it's not like he was fooled entirely into believing some big plot because of Momonosuke suddenly being there. It was just that split second of him slipping up in shock and looking away that caused him to leave an opening for Kaido to come in and knock him out. So like it's not necessarily that like, oh, he's such a fool, how did he forget that she had the ability? I just consider it's not that he forgot for like a long time, it's just that split second was enough for him to look away that Kaido was able to seize it. So it took 5 whole days for the fires from the beginning of the fight to stop thanks to the rain that finally arrived. It shows Oden and his samurai were imprisoned in the flower capital to await their punishment, and since the citizens were unaware of the reasons behind the attacks, they seemed pretty cold towards him, joking about not being able to see him dance again and stuff like that. We then see that Oden denied knowing Shinobu, so she would be able to escape and get away without having to face the same fate of them, essentially, so she wouldn't die. The chapter ends with a close-up of our Akazaya 9 and Oden sitting in their cells with the proclamation that, in the public square 3 days hence, the 10 wicked samurai are sentenced to be boiled to death. So what do you guys think about this week's chapter? I personally really enjoyed the Paradise Totsuka page and the close-ups we get of Kaido, well, just being Kaido. I always enjoy seeing him. But I do feel like I wanted a bit more out of that fight between the two of them. I would have liked to see like Oden fight Kaido a little bit more, but I understand that like we can't have like several chapters of them fighting, but it would have been a really cool fight to see. However, for now, I just plan on sitting back and doing some theory videos for One Piece over the next week while the manga's on break till the week after. But also, do you guys have any theories for the series that are your favorite currently? If you do, comment them below. I'd love to see them. I'd love to discuss them with you guys. But that's all for this video, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Strawhat Deku signing off. Stay safe, everybody.
今度はしっかり掴み続けるんだ。離さないよ。